for more on this development in River State and a new political coalition, I am now being joined by Chris Nwando, a political analyst and publisher. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining me this morning. Let's look at this very, carefully. What would be your reaction, first off, to the approval of the state of emergency in River State by both the Green and Red chambers, particularly in the Green chambers where the issue of quorum generated some tension? What's your thought?
Good morning, my brother, Joe. I hope you are good this morning.
I'm great.
Yes, we need to, first of all, establish certain things. First and foremost is whether the president has the constitutional right to declare a state of emergency in River State. And the answer is yes. That by the provision of Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution, based on certain parameters, the president has the right and obligation constitutionally to be able to declare a state of an emergency in any part of the country, based on reports at his disposal. So we don't know what the reports at his disposal that warranted that. We're talking of security report. We don't know what I can also understand, whether the situation as it were within River State at the point at which the president declared the state of emergency, whether it has gotten to the point to which the Constitution made certain those provisions. So it's left to be seen. So it's established the president has the right to do that. Then the second leg is what we are talking about, the National Assembly. Yes, it was said that if the president declared a state of emergency within session, within 24 hours, they must approve it. If they are not in session, I think within 48 hours, they have to reconvene, 48 or 72 hours, they have to reconvene and be able to approve, which is what they did yesterday. But going through the roads, what to ask yourself, the approval, as it were, what did the Constitution say about that? Yet, to the best of my knowledge, it is not by voice vote, it is by 2/3 of members of the National Assembly. So, for the out of the House of Representatives, where the issue of quorum came up, and then the issue of voice vote was taken. I don't know how right and how constitutional right that was. We also saw at the Senate, there are certain individuals and senators also opposed this, but at the end of it all, they've seen that the majority of the members agree for that. Then the second leg to the issue is that, which probably I know you got to ask me this, is that does the president have the constitutional right to suspend an elected governor, deputy governor, or the state house of assembly? Absolutely no. There is nowhere in the Constitution that gives the president the power to be able to do that. The only constitutional provision for the removal of the deputy or governor is through impeachment, and that is only way. So any other thing that the president did concerning that, for me, is a breach of the 99 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended.
Well, I'd like us to look at the fact that could there have been other alternatives or other alternative solution, especially for the president? Many have said they should have picked up the phone, called the warring factions, sit them again, keep trying, like the Colts, call him the father of the nation. What's your take on this?
My personal opinion is that the president, in his broadcast, was so biased. He was biased. He was heaping all the blame of what happened in River State on the Governor Sim Fubara. And for there to be a dispute, there must be two people. So the president never mentioned the role being played by the FCT minister, former governor of River State, Nyesom Wike, who is a gladiator in this fight. He didn't also put any kind of blame on the legislative part, who are also not living to expectation, despite the fact that, yes, Supreme Court, he tried everything humanly possible to be able to implement those basic three decisions that were taken by the Supreme Court. First and foremost, he made sure that the local government chairmen were removed as proclaimed by the Supreme Court. And he made attempts to also resubmit and present the budget, 25 budget, to the State Houses of Assembly. First and foremost, the Assembly said no, that the letter did not, it was not signed by him. It was signed by the Secretary to the government. He again signed another one by himself and said, they said no, they didn't. The next thing they did was to sit and adjourn indefinitely. So he also made an attempt to access the State Assembly to be able to meet with lawmakers. I don't know whether he got the approval to come. But at the end of it, you have to realize that the governor in the Supreme Court, but it seems that the other warring party were not there. And you heard what the FCT minister said, that if Fubara is speech, that the heaven will not fall, and they cannot stop the legislator. That does not show somebody that's ready for peace. So those are the issues for me. That in itself was a kind of bias on the part of the president. I expect the president to have done more. Called his employee, quote and unquote, yes, so they talked to him, and also they called the governor. Yes, I know that they had a meeting with them in the past, and that did not use any fruit. But he could have gone further than this, than rather just placing all the blames on the governor, who to me, I think, had his hand tied to the back and practically had nothing to do.
Well, what's your take on the sole administrator of the state currently?
Well, there cannot be vacuum as far as the issue is concerned. If you remove the governor or you suspend the governor, you suspended the deputy, you suspended the House of Assembly. If you don't procure somebody to be able to take charge, then there's going to be problem. There are going to be chaos, there are going to be high level of insecurity and the rest of them. So the president did writing back, appointed. But ask me, I don't know in the Constitution, whether there's anywhere in the Constitution where we had a provision for an administrator. And when you're talking of administrator, you're not talking of civilian administrator. Why is it that they're always speaking military people? Say, yes, I agree that it's a state of mind. Why do you have, whether you like it or not, Vice Admiral Ibas, he's a former military man. He was the former chief of staff, chief of naval staff of Federation. He's a military man. So why are you picking up him? Why don't you get somebody? You need a sole administrator. Does it mean that you cannot get a civilian who can be neutral and who is neutral in all that is happening in Rivers State and make sure that you're able to take care of issues as it's were? So why the military? Because we are trying to try as much as possible to try to draw ourselves away from the military. Let the military remain what they are. Let them remain in the area of taking care of the security of the country. So whether retired or unretired, we saw the last military head of state retired, Buhari, that was elected by Nigerians in 2015, and he was presided over the affairs of Nigeria for 8 years. I continue to say that Buhari remains the worst president Nigeria ever had. Look, go into the records and see the legacies he left behind. So the military are not the best of administrators. They can be good in providing security and the rest of them, but it's everything about security. I hope that the new administrator will be able to sit down and be able to look at, maybe to harness the opportunities in Rivers State and make sure that all the warring questions are brought together and make sure that there is stability in Rivers State. But for me, I still say that appointing a retired general as an administrator in a civilian government, to me, is a no-no.
Well, let's discuss a little bit more on this. There seems to be a coalition that's coming of opposition political leaders. I mean, they've hinted at a possible merger ahead of 2027 elections. Do you see this come to reality, given that the level of divergence and also differences in political views are held by some of the names of the persons involved? You have a former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar. You have a former member of the APC who has moved now to the SDP, and so on.
Well, for me, it's a constitutional right. They have the right to come together. They have the right to make. But I've not seen any level of seriousness on the part of the opposition party. The opposition party in Nigeria currently is completely dead. Let's start with the main opposition party, PDP. You saw the problem. You have seen the problem that is bedeviling the PDP. That just like Chinua said in his book, Things Fall Apart, it seems that the center cannot hold. So, which version of there are two versions of within the PDP, the Wike faction, the Atiku Abubakar faction. You go to the Labour Party, you have 3 people aspiring to the chairmanship of the party. You have the Apampa, you have the Abure, you have the former minister, what's her name? Nemade, right? That's her name, Usman. That is, then you go to the NPP. NPP, practically example, they're having problem. You come to even the so-called SDP that some of them have removed it. For the PDP and the APC did something strategic before pre-2015. They have tried to unseat PDP for a long time as a party. The CPC, ACN, name them, ANPP and the rest of them, individual and the couldn't. They came together and merged. You had the CPC, you had the ACN, you had the ANPP, and you had the NPDP. Do you remember the NPDP? I'm sure you remember, John, my brother, very well, that Hansen, in 2015, where you had the NPDP, where 5 governors of the PDP had to leave to join the coalition. What do you ask yourself? This current coalition, who are the people coming together? Who are which of the political parties are? Who are the gladiators? Do they have the personal way to be able to gather themselves together and merge as people, or just a single individuals that put their head together? When I look at that table yesterday, apart from Atiku Abubakar, who else do you think that have the political cloud within that table that you saw yesterday that can be able to push, even within their own state, be able to push? Is it the former SGF from Adamawa that I don't know? It doesn't have any political. El-Rufai, practically the political thing within the state have been taken over by the current governor, or who again? The guy representing the Labour Party. So it is a big task. Except they can be able to come together and forge a very, very formidable alliance. If not, if they continue to go the way they are going, then you can see that by 2027, Bola Tinubu might just have a smooth second term right.
I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Chris Nwando, for joining us here on News Now. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, and do have a nice day.